Hello, my friends. Today we talked about the Dino. So first, we are going to talk about what Dino is. So Dino is a simple and modern and secure runtime for JavaScript and TypeScript that uses V8 and is built in Rust. So even though we read this one, we actually couldn't figure out what Dino is exactly. So try to understand this Dino more deeply. So we will do a lot of things today. So for the steps of explanation for Dino, first we will learn the Dino's basic information. So after that, we will install the Dino in our machine and we will explore its feature one by one. So there are so many features already introduced in the Dino website, Dino official website. So we will go to Dino's website and install the Dino and we will explore the features. After that, as Node.js has its own framework, people mostly use the Express.js. Like that, this Dino also has its own framework. There are so many frameworks for the Dino. So we will see that later. So among them, we will choose the one framework named Org. So and then by using this framework, we are going to make the routing server. So before we keep going ahead, so I just want to briefly explain my opinion on Dino with Node.js. First, some people think that we need to stop studying Node.js because of Dino. So for that question, I just want to say no. Because Dino is just a new technology that is just released. Resources for the Dino are not enough and it needs a lot of tests for stability. And I also guess that it needs 2 or 3 years for Dino to be used at work actively. And more than that, using Dino is super similar to using Node.js. I've made this routing server with the Dino, but it is super similar. So if you know the Node.js well, you can easily switch it to Dino when you really need to use the Dino. So you really don't need to worry about that. Even later, when people hire the developer for Dino website, there will be a high chance that people will hire Node.js developer because it is super similar as I said in here. So this was just my thought and opinion on this Dino after using this Dino for quite a time. And lastly, I want to say we will see that how easily the person who learned Node.js can access to Dino in this video while learning Dino. So this was the intro for the Dino. I'm just going to take a rest just for a bit and then I will come back here and we will talk about this Dino's feature, Dino's basic feature. So I hope you will like it and just see you later. Thank you. So now it's time to know the basic information about Dino. So first, the Dino is built on top of V8 JavaScript runtime and Rust. This one is built in the C++, but for the Dino, Rust is used. And for handling event loop, this one used the Tokyo. And lastly, it is also built in the TypeScript. So first, we want to know why Dino is created, even though we use the Node.js really well. So if I answer to these questions, so Dino is created by the same person who created the Node.js, and he saw all the shortcomings and the old technology used in Node.js. So because of this shortcoming and old technology he found, he even talking like this in the JavaScript conference. 10 things I regret about Node.js. So if you never watched this one, I think this one is quite useful, so you can just try to watch this one. So anyway, so because of this shortcoming and the old technology, so he decided to build a better version of Node.js. But by the time he realized the Node.js needs some upgrade, it was impossible because it is already so late. So he decided to recreate the Node.js in a better form. So that's why this Dino is created. So if we briefly just look into the parts which was not that great inside of Node.js, the first one is the fully designed module system with centralized distribution. So when Lyanders was creating the Node.js, he needs to find the ways how Node.js can take care of the modules. So when he did that, he just decided to put all the modules inside the node module further. But originally the web is supposed to be decentralized. But because of this node module, this one becomes so much centralized. And secondly, even though lots of legacy APIs that has to be supported, but it was not. So that is the second reason. And then security was also one of the reason. In case of Node.js, without assigning the permission for resources, anyone can just access to the important resource, like the file system. I'm going to just explain later for this one, like file system or network or the environment variable and so on. So actually, these are just a few reasons why the Dino is created. So now we know the Node.js disadvantage. So now we want to know how Dino improved the Node.js's disadvantage. Dino initially tries to correct the mistakes made in Node.js. So first, Dino adopt the ES module system just uniquely. For the Node.js, if we want to import something, so first we need to download some module by using the npm, like npm install. If we want to download the bcrypt, we do the npm install bcrypt. But for the Dino, we can just do import and then put some function or any other thing we want to import in here, and we will just use the URL like this. So by doing like this, we will just download the module and then update the resources on its own. So just the Dino becomes the package manager. So we use the npm for the package manager in Node.js, but now the Dino just becomes package manager itself, so we are not going to use the npm anymore. So we need to say goodbye to npm. So after we load this module by using it like this, in the first run, we will cache that module into the hard drive. So the good thing to catch this dependency to our hard drive is we can even use that dependency when we are offline. And then we can also think about the enhanced security for Dino. So we said before in here, in case of Node.js, without assigning the permission for resource, anyone can access to the important resource. But in case of Dino, it actually requires a permission by default when accessing disk or network or the things that ask for the permissions. So if we know how it is possible like this, we can just look at this part first. So people say the Dino works like a sandbox, so it needs the permission. First, we may need to know what is the sandbox to understand what this sentence says. I just tried to find some the information about the sandbox in the Stack Overflow. Yeah, Stack Overflow gave me this answer and the picture. If there is a house in the backyard, people just make this kind of sandbox, but children are the one that has to be protected, and children doesn't have to affect the really important thing. So that's why we make the sandbox in here and let the children just play anything in here. So nothing so important got impacted by their playing. So we can just apply this situation into software the sandbox. So now we are trying to isolate what children do from the really important thing. So we also make the Dino by default execute the code in a sandbox. So if you think this one is the sandbox and this one is isolated, and then this one is the real playground, that is really important and doesn't have to get infected by this sandbox at all. So this one is the like this one, and this real playground is here, like the network and file system and environment variable and execution of the other script. So whatever you do inside the Dino, it doesn't infect at all on this network and file system and this one. So that's why we think it is the more enhanced security. But now we can have some question. So we actually need to access to this file system to download something or to get some files from there. Or we also need to access to network to make some server or environment variable. Or how can we access to that? So in here, these flags appear. Like whenever we need to read the file system or write the file system, or we need to access the network, so we actually need to put these a flag in the command line. So we are going to really do this later. So when we really do that, you can understand it better. So after this one, there is some the feature about the TypeScript. So in here, so inside the Dino, TypeScripts become actually the first class citizen. So that means we don't actually need to download the TypeScript module and then configure our environment to work in TypeScript. I think it's really going well because TypeScript is a really nice technology. So when you need to make some application really fast, you can just use the JavaScript. But if you want to make your application more stable and more solid, yeah, definitely just go with the TypeScript together. So after that, we can also see this top level await is supported. So if you never heard of this one, top level await, so if I just let you see one example. So when we originally used the await, we actually need to wrap this await with the async. But if you see in here, even though we are using the await, we cannot see async at all. Yeah, originally it has to be like this. There is an async wrapping this await, but we just delete this part and using only the await. So the reason how we can do this is this Dino actually support the top level await. So inside the top level, we can just use the await without async. But we still need to use the async if that is not top level. But it is kind of hard to explain right now. Later when we do some coding, I can just let you know which part is the top level and then which part is the not top level. So you still need to use the async. Yeah, we will see that later. So lastly, yeah, we want to just know about this browser compatible. Even for this one, like this, I just want to take one example. So when we use the fetch API in Node.js, I actually did that in here. You can see I use this fetch API like this inside the Node.js, but the output was like this. I got error, like the fetch is not defined. So this means inside the Node.js, fetch is not supported originally. But if we come to just here and then I try to that fetch API inside the browser, in here fetch, and I just type anything in here. So now this returns the promise instead of this error message, fetch is not defined. This means this browser supports this fetch API. So how we can use this fetch API inside Node.js? So if we want to use this fetch API, we actually need to download this Node fetch module manually in the Node.js. So we can use this fetch API. So how about inside the Dino? So I really tried it in here. So I just go inside the Dino and then I try to type this one, fetch HTTPS and anything in here. So I also got the promise that returned by this Dino. So this means without downloading this third-party module, so I can just use this the fetch API because Dino is supporting this one. So that means Dino got the better the browser compatible. So if you can use some API inside the browser, you can also use this one inside the Dino. So this means Dino is more compatible with the browser. But I heard Dino is not 100% compatible right now, but Dino is keep trying their best to be more compatible with the browser. So after this fetch API, if we see just this sentence, so when importing the module, originally we used the require and then we put the module in here, but inside the Dino, we use the import and export syntax. And this one is the browser-based way from the EX6. So this also indicates that Dino is more browser compatible. So lastly, I just want to let you see some comparison between the Node.js and Dino. So for the engine, in Node.js we use the V8 and Dino also use the V8 JavaScript engine. And the Node is written in the C++ and JavaScript, but in the Dino is written in Rust and TypeScript. And then Node used the npm for the package managing, but Dino uses the URLs. And when import the package, it used the CommonJS syntax like this, require module. But Dino used the ES modules. So we can just do import and export. And then for the security, so Dino just give the full access to anyone, so people can just access the very important resources. But for the Dino, permission access, because it is like a sandbox, as we said in here, like in here. So we need to just put some flag in here to access to network and file system like that. And then after that, for the TypeScript support, we can still use the TypeScript inside the Node.js, but this is not built in. But for the Dino, it is built in. So we can use a TypeScript right away without doing any configuration or installation. So I think it is fairly enough for the basic information for this Dino basic. Lastly, if I just let you see one just image, just this one. I found it. It is really funny. Just the heaviest object in the universe and sun and like black hole and node modules. It is heavier than black hole. Like if you see the volume of the node module, actually it is really big. So for now, I think for the basic information, I think it is enough for the Dino. So after this video, we are really going to install the Dino and then explore some features one by one. So thank you for watching this video. Thank you. So now it's the time to install the Dino. So first we go to the Dino website. You can just Google it, Dino. So you can come in here. So first we need to install the Dino. So to install this one, so there are a lot of ways to install the Dino. So if you are using the Windows, you can take this way or this way. So if you downloaded the Chocolatey, so maybe you can just type the Choco install Dino. So if you are using the PowerShell, so maybe just you can this command line. So I'm using the Mac. So I can just use this one or this one, but I already used the homebrew to install the Dino. So after installing it, we can just try very simple command to running the simple program. So I'm just going to turn on the terminal. So in here, so if you type the Dino, like we are inside the Dino right now. So if I type the 1 + 1, so I can get 2. So if I do the console log, hello, like this. So it got me this output hello. So now, yeah, we are going to run this simple application. So first I want to know what is inside URL. So I want to go to this place. I come in here, you can see there is really simple one line. We can just do console log the welcome to Dino. So if we just run this one by using this command Dino run and then this URL which has that line. So in here Dino run and then put this URL in here. We got this output in here. Welcome to Dino. That is inside in here. Welcome to Dino. So after this, if we go to the standard library, so there are a lot of library we are familiar with, like this FS, and the HTTP and IO or this WebSocket or UUID. We have used them a lot in Node.js environment. So if you see here, so these modules do not have external dependencies and they are reviewed by the Dino core team. So the intention is to have a standard set of high quality code that Dino project can use fearlessly. So I think they are really taking care of these dependencies that are put in the standard library. So we are going to use some of them to explore the Dino more deeply. So first, what we are going to do is, first we will just go to the text editor. So we will put some code in our text editor. So first, I'm going to make the folder named Dino play. So you can name anything, whatever you want to name. So I'm going to just turn on the text editor and then drag the folder I just made in here. And then I make it bigger. And in here, first I will make one file named Dino play. And then TS because TypeScript is built in inside the Dino. But before that, there is one more thing we need to do. That is, we need to download the one extension for the Dino. So if you just click this tab, so you can see a lot of extension in here. So we also need to find the extension for the Dino. So if you type the Dino in here, you can see this extension. So you can see this publisher's name, just the JABEC. So you can download this extension. After installing this one, you can come back in here, the file you just made. So in here, I just type very simple thing like hello again. Then I just save it, and then I will use the terminal in here to run this simple program by typing Dino and run and Dino play.ts. So if I click enter, after this compiling this file, and then it will show us this hello text that we did the console log. So after this, what we want to do is we will create the file with Dino. After creating the file, we will read the file we created. And lastly, we want to create very simple server again. So we come back in here. I will make one more file named create and ts. So inside in here, we need to create the file. So we are going to put the text in this file. So to put the text, we need to encode the text. So to do that, so if you see in here, we need to use this Text Encoder Api. So to use this one, we can just follow this example. So first we create the instance, and then we put the text we want to type in here. So in here, we will also do that. First, we need to create the instance. So encoder and new text encoder, and then const hello text and encoder from here, and encode. And then inside in here, we can just type anything we want to put. Hello and thank you, like this. And in here, we need to type the Dino namespace. And in here, there are a lot of things we can do, like we can change the mode, and we can change the ownership, and we can close and copy or connect. But we are writing the file right now, so we will use the write file function here, and then we can just write the file name that we want to put this text in. So like hello.txt, then we can just put this text in here. But when we execute the Dino always return the promise. So originally we need to do async and do it like this, and then put this one to return the promise and then away. But as I said before in here, so Dino does support the top level away. So because of this one, we can just delete this part. So because this one is top level, so we can use this top level away. So without the async. So save it, and then I'm going to just run this file just by typing Dino and run and create.ts. But if I run this one, we will get one error, but first I'm going to just enter it. So if you see this uncut permission denied, so before we just talked about this Dino's feature, so that is the enhanced security. So because Dino works like the sandbox, it needs the permission. So when we write some file or read some file, or when we access to the network, we need to put this flag, but we didn't put that flag in here. That's why we got this permission denied. So I am going to just type it again, Dino, and run, and allow, and write, and create file. So now we will see in here, so we can see this hello.txt, put the name in here. So we got this hello.txt. So if I click it, so we can see this text that we put in here after encoding it. So now we just create the file, and we will also read this file we just made. This one, we try to read this one. So we make one more file named read and ts. We can just do it like this. Dino, use the Dino namespace again, and then we can just open the file named hello.txt. But even when we open the file, it will also return the promise. So we can just put the await without the async, because this one is the top level. So after opening this one, so we need to copy this text for the standard out. So to do that, we can just do await again and Dino namespace, and then copy function and put the file, and then we can just copy this one into the Dino standard out. And then we will close the file by putting this method in here. So I'm going to just run this file again by typing. But when we also read the file, we also need to give this allowed read flag in here. Dino run allow read and read.ts. So now you can see this text that comes from this hello.txt. Lastly, what we want to do right now is create the HTTP server. So we go to come to standard library again, and then we click this HTTP. So if we scroll down, we can see this code to make this HTTP server. So we will just type this one. So come to the text editor again, and then we just make one more file named server.ts. So in here, we will type this one. So first, to create the HTTP server, we need to import the function. This function, so we can get by using the URL. So HTTPS and Dino and land std and standard library and HTTP and server.ts. So if you have some red line in here, the reason is that if you never loaded this one for, so it is not cached yet. So that's why it has the red line in here. But after load this one in the first run, you will cache this one inside your hard disk. After that, this red line will go away. So you don't need to worry about this red line in here. So after that, by using this function, put it, and we need to put the port in here. So you can just put any port you want to have. For me, I'm just to put the 5000, and then we will do the console log HTTP and local host and 5000. And by using the for await, and then we need to get the request from this serve, and then we can get the request, and then we will do the response, and we will put the body like the hello and thank you, and like this. So now we just made the HTTP server. So now we will just run this file by typing Deno and run. We also need to add the flag, but which flag do we need to put in here? So there are some of the flags we can choose, but this time we need to access to the network. So that's why we need to put this allow net flag. So in here, allow net, and this is server.ts. Already the 5000 port is listening on because I am running the different program right now. First, I will just kill that 5000, and then I will just do it again. I'm sorry about that. So now we are listening on this the port 5000. So now we will go to this the localhost 5000 in here, 5000. So now you can see hello thank you we got inside this body. So but if I let you see just the one more interesting that I found. So I've also played a lot of things that is inside the Dino website. So I went inside the example, and I wanted to just try this chat one. So I went inside in here, and I go to the server, and I just want to run this chat application by using this URL. So example chat slash and server ts. So I'm just to let you see how easily we can make the chat server by using this one. So I'm just to turn on the terminal, and then I will just type the Dino and run, and to access the network, put this tag in here, and then also put the URL for the chat server and type it. And now we are listening on this 8080 port. So if I go to localhost 8080, so you can see, so we have the chat server. So if I type 123 and hello, and like this, very easily we made the chat server. And if I disconnect it, like click this close, so even though I type something, yeah, nothing happened. If I click the connect, yeah, so very easily the chat server is implemented. Isn't it really cool? Yeah. So anyway, so we just played with the standard library so far. We played with the standard library. So the last thing I want to mention just in this video is so we said so when we create the server in here, so if we run this one at the first time, I say we will just cache this one inside the hard disk, but we don't know where that hard disk is. If it is the Mac OS you are using, so they will cache inside the home and library and caches and Dino. But if something fails, it falls back to the home and .dino. But if you are using the window, so that will cache inside the local app data and Dino. So I hope if you want to find some place where your module is stored and then cached, you can just go inside here, this local app data or the caches and Dino. So I'm just going to take a rest a bit, and the next time we will just use the framework named OG and to make the REST API. Thank you. Now it's time to make the REST API with framework. So first we need to choose one framework for Dino. So if we go to this Dino website again, so in here, so like in third-party modules, so if you type the framework, you can actually see so many frameworks. Honestly, I don't know when they make this many frameworks for the Dino, because the Dino just got released, but there are already a lot. So if you see this one, A1 is the micro framework for Dino, and then a better Dino framework. So there are so many frameworks, so we need to choose one framework. So we will, so among all of them, we are going to use just Oak framework. So I'm gonna click this one, Oak. So the reason why I chose this one for this project, I have seen a lot of Dino code, but most of them are using this Oak framework. And I think this framework is really similar to Express framework. So that's why I chose this one for our project. So to know how to use this Oak framework, so we will go this Oak examples. So there are so many examples we can follow. Among them, we are going to make this routing server in here. So if you see here, there are the source code for this routing server. So first, I'm going to just turn on this server by using this URL, and then I'm going to just explain a bit, and then we will make this application from the scratch so you can understand it better. So first come into our terminal and then type the Deno and run and allow net for the network permission, and then put this URL in here and then enter. Start listening on the port 8000. So we go to 8000 localhost 8000. So we got this output for the body. The reason why we got this one is, so if we come back to our routing server code, so first you can see in here we get the book information. So by using this map object, we can, first I'm going to let you see this the map. So if I first explain about this one, this map object hold the key value pairs and remember the original insertion order of the key. So if you see the code again in here, this one is the key and then this one is the value. So we give the any key for this value. So there is the book information, the title and then author. And so if you see the louder here, we were using the louder a lot even in the Express.js. So if we go to root endpoint, we will just response this body as a hello world. And then if we go to the /book endpoint, we will get all of the book information from this map object. We have just one book information right now. So we will get this information when we go to the /book. So if we go to /book in the port 8000, so I'm going to type the /book. So I got this information that is in here, untitled and author. This one is in here. And if we got the post method for this /book endpoint, we will insert one more book in here, books. After that, we have one more route in here, get method, and then we will get the /book and /books ID. So, and by using this ID, we can find the book that has the exact ID based on the book ID. So, and then we can also have this logo in here. So if we see this terminal, or whenever we just request a different thing like 1, 2, 3, 4, so we got one more log for this application. After that, we also have this error handler in here, and then we just register the louder to use this louder inside this application. And to listen on this application, we need to put this part too. So now we understood what is going on in here. So we are going to make this one from the scratch. So first, I'm going to make the folder here named Dino and Dino like this. You can give any name for this folder, and then I will just turn on the text editor and then just drag this folder I just made. First, we will make the file named the server. This will be the entry point for our application. First, we need to create the Oak application. So we need to import that application that comes from the Oak module. So when we just import the module, we say we are going to use the URL. So I type the https and dino.land and x/org and mode.ts. This mode stands for the module. So by using this application class, we need to make the Oak application, new application, and we need to listen to this application by typing app.listen, and we give the port for this one. I give the 5000 port. But sorry for this one. I should have made a TypeScript file instead of JavaScript. So I got used to making just JavaScript, so I need to change that part. Change TS instead of the JS. So we keep making this one, but inside the Dino, we always return the promise. So we need to give the await for this one to get the promise. So even for this one, we don't have the async to wrap this part, but I just write this one. Server is listening on port 5000. You can actually make the variable for this port and then put the variable in here too if you want to make it dynamic. And then we try to run this file. So Dino run allow net and then server.ts. So now we got the error. The reason why we got the error is there is no middleware to process a request. We don't have any router in here, so to solve this problem, we need to register some middleware for the router. So we will get the router in here, and as we did for this app, we also by using this router class, and we put the router and new router like this, and then by using this Oak application. So we put this one in here and then and it is really similar to Express, and we need to register this router with this application. So we put this router in here and route. We need to register one more thing, that is the use and router and the allowed method in here. This one means that we will allow any method that is like the get method or the post method or put method. We just allow any method. So after just putting like this, we will actually make the one louder by using louder and then get method, and then the endpoint will be just a slash, and then we do the arrow function in here, and then we got the context in here. What this one is, if we just look at the Express.js code, I'm just going to turn on it. we get the request and response. If we send some request with the body, we can get that body by using this request, like the request and body. And the property of the something we send from the client is name. Yeah, we can do it like this, request body name. And then when we send the JSON data into the front end again, we will use the response like this. So rest and send like this. So we need to have this request and response in the second parameter. Like this, we also need to have this context. Inside the context, we will have the request and then context and response. If you see the documentation for the org, like in here, yeah, you can see we have this context, we have this response, and then request inside this context. So if you just want to write the response and only the request, you can just destructure this one like this. You can destructure like this. But inside the documentation, they put the context. So I also just follow the documentation. So context, put the context, and inside the context, we can have the response, and then we put the body. And if we come to this endpoint, we say you are in the landing page right now. So I'm just gonna save this one, and then now I will run this file again. So type Dino and run and allow and net server.ts. So now we don't get any error, and it says server is listening on port 5000. So we go to the 5000. 5000. So you can see you are in the landing page right now. So we now keep making the router for the books, but inside this routing server that is in the documentation, they use this map object to set the key and value. But instead of this, we are just going to set the books variable, and then we make the array, and then inside the array we will make the object, and we just put the ID for the book, and then title and book 1, and then the author for this book, and we make 2 more books in here. So we got the 3 books, but I need to change the ID, and 2 and 2, and ID 3 for the, and 3 for even for the author 3. So now we have the 3 books inside this books variable. So to get these books, we need to do get method again, and then endpoint will be books because we will get every book. So for the second parameter, we will get the context again, and this by using the context and response and the body, we want to populate this all of the books information. So we just put these books, and we can also give the status, response and status. This one is for the success, so we just give the 200. So we are going to down the server to restart it, and then we are going to restart the server again, and we are going to this endpoint books. Come to the 5000 port, and then go to books. So now we have the 3 information showing in here, 3 books information. So now what we need to make one more the route. by using the post method. So now we are going to add one more book in this books array. Endpoint will be just the book, and then for the second parameter, context and arrow function. When we make this request, we don't have just client yet, so we need to use the postman for the client to send some information about this book, like the title and author. So we can add the books with this body. To get the body that comes from the client, so when we use the Express.js, we use the body parser, and then we get the request and body and ID or title, or request the body author like this. And if we want to get both of them at once, we just get it like this. But in here, if we want to get it, so we can just do it like this. So context and request and body. It is really similar, right? But the difference is it always returns the promise. So we always need to use the await to get that value. So the const and body. So to put the information we got from the client, we use it like this, and we put the information that comes from the client in this body variable. But if you see in here, we got the red line in here. That means we have some error. That is, before when I explain about this this top level await, I said even though the Dino support the top level await, so we don't need to use the async to wrap this the await. But still, there are sometimes we need to use the async because at that time, that point is not the top level. So now is the time. So now this await is not inside the top level. That is in this router. So we still need the async. So I need to put the async in here, so that error goes away right now. So after that, so we got the body inside this body variable. But sometimes we just send the request without the body. So to do that, we can just do it like context and request and has body. If the has body is the false, we just do it like this: context response and status 400. This means not found. So, and then so we can just do context response and body and no data like this. But if we got the body inside the request, so there are the thing we need to do in here. So if we got the body, so if we have to put the information, so like the title and author in the database, we actually don't need to generate the ID manually, because the database will generate the body on its own. But we are not going to put the data inside the database, so we need to generate the ID on our own. So first we need to generate the ID, and with ID and the title and author that come from the client, we need to put them inside the books array in here, this one. So now we have these 3 items inside the books array, but we will have 4 items after we add the one more item in here. So first we make the book variable, and there is the body and value that comes from this body. Context request the body in here, body. So this body. So inside is the body. Now we get this title information and author information. So now we need to generate this ID and then we need to put that generated ID inside this book object. So to the generate the ID, there are a lot of ways to generate it, but before inside the standard library, we saw this UUID. So we are going to use this UUID. So if you see this one, they just tell us how to make this UUID. So we are going to import this one and put it in here, and we also bring this one to generate it. So we put it in here. So now we got the ID, but we need to change this part as a book and ID. So now we even put the ID inside this book object. So we need to add this object inside this array. So to do that, we will use the push method. So books and push, and we put this book array book object in here. After that, we just need to do response back, and status will be the 200, and then context and response and body. So you can just put all of the books information for the body, but usually we just put only one book that is just added. So we can do it like this. So now I'm going to just run this application again, and then postman to send the request for this post route. So I brought the postman. If you don't have postman, you can go to postman website and you can just download it for free. So this one is the post request, so change it into post, and then localhost endpoint is the book, and we need to give the body. So click the row and then JSON format, and we need to give the title book 4, and we also need to give the author and just the 4, and we need to click the send button. So now we got this newly added books information. ID was generated by the UUID, and then this author and title. So if we try to send the request with this endpoint, we will get 4 items as a response back. So we try to get it, request and books. So I will click this send. So if you see 1, 2, 3, 4. So we successfully add the one more item. So lastly, so we are going to make one more route. That is also get method, and then this time the path will be the book, and we need to give the ID for the book, 3 or 2 or 1, to get that specific the book information. So and then we get the context again. But before keep making this one, now we are using the TypeScript. So I'm going to just make the interface in here. I should have made it before, but I forgot it. So anyway, I'm just making right now. So this will be for this books type. So interface and book, and every property is consist of the string. So give the string for the ID, and then give the string even for the title, and then author string, like this, and then put this interface in here. But this one is the array, so we need to put the array in here. Even for the this one, we can just give the type. So lastly, we need to keep making this route. So first thing we need to do is need to find the book that has ID which is same as param value. So if we put the 3 in here, we need to find the book that has the 3 as a ID. So we get that this book's information. So that's what we are doing right now. So first we try to find the book. So by using the find method, so b and b.id, which is this one or this one or this one, and then if this one is the same as this one is equivalent to the context and params and id. So I need to change this one is id. So this one is a 3. So if this one is a 3, like this. And then so if we find it, that book's information, this book's information will be inside it here. So we can give the type again, book. But if we couldn't find it, it will be just undefined. So we can do it like this. So if we got the book, so we can do response and body. Just we will populate the book we just found by using this find method, and then we will also specify the response and then status. This will be 200, but if we didn't get any the matched book, we can give the context and the response and then body, and the context and response and then status, and 404 for not found result. For this, we actually did everything we need to do. More than that, I want to do one more thing. For that is, now we have only one file. That is not that bad, but actually this is so like kind of messy. In just one file, we got the interface or this variable and the router. So everything is inside this one file. So if this application get bigger, if this application gets bigger, so it will be messier. So I just want to separate some code by making the different file. First will be the types.ts, and then we put this the interface in there, but we are not going to use this one in here, so that's why we need to export it. So now we got the error in here because we don't have the type anymore, so we need to import that book interface in here, types.ts, so that error goes away. So we also want to move all the router into routes.ts file. Move this router from here. We remove the application, and then we need to bring this router, and we bring all of them, including this router, so it becomes way like simpler, and all of the content related to router here. But we still need this type again, so bring it this one, and we also need to get this UUID module inside this route, like this. So but we need to import the router from this routes. So in here we need to export it, default router, and then we import it in here, but that was the default export, so we don't need this curly brace. So router and from routes.ts. Now we did everything for this server.ts, and then routes.ts and type.ts. And now we are going to turn on our application again to make sure it's working really well. So I just go to the website, the port will be the 5000, and go to the root page, and then I go to the books, and I got the right information like this, and this works really well. So thank you for just watching this long video. For me, I think the dinner is really great, and thankfully this is not also very different from the way we treat the Node.js. So we can easily switch the Node.js into the Dino when we have to switch. But actually, this is not a time to switch it from Node.js to Dino at all, because Node is still doing really well. And as I said before, the resources for the Dino is really not enough, and this also needs to be tested a lot, because the company needs really good stability. Anyway, I think if you know this much for the Dino, I think this is really enough for now. I hope you can just keep learning the Node.js more and more, so you can treat even the Dino better. So thank you for watching this video, and I will keep making this kind of video more and more. So I hope I can see you in my next project. So see you later. Thank you.